In this video, I'm going to be doing my final update of 2023. We're going to be going through the miles I've driven, maintenance I've done in the month of December, and any modifications that were made. Just going to open the door to get the mileage to show up quick. What do we have here? 124,780 miles. Since my last update, I've driven a little over 7,000 miles. Many of those miles were the 6,000 I just drove on a trip where my wife and I went back to New Hampshire from Colorado to see some family. And then we went down south to Brevard, North Carolina to visit some other friends. So we did a big loop and it resulted in quite a bit of driving, as you can imagine. Got to see PTT with A-Rod to have him do a few things on my truck. It was a very uneventful and good 6,000 mile trip. No issues at all whatsoever. And that will be the last trip I've done this year. So in total, I'll have driven about 37,000 miles this year with zero breakdowns or tire punctures or anything. I had to fix a couple punctures after the fact, but nothing that left me stranded on the side of the road. It was just debris that I found in my tires when I was rotating them. And while the truck has had its issues, I've been kind of struggling with the steering components this year. It was never anything that left me on the side of the road. I never had problems with the DPF being plugged, despite, might I add, the fact that people go on and on about how if you don't work the truck hard enough, or if you use it as a daily and you don't run it as a work truck, the DPF is going to plug. I found it to be quite the opposite. I think as long as you're driving enough miles on the highway, you're pretty much free and clear of DPF issues. Now, the truck only has about, at this point, 125,000 miles. So we're going to see at what point I start having issues with sensors like the particulate sensors or NOx sensors or stuff like that. In terms of maintenance in this month, I've done a bleed of the brake lines. So my brother actually flushed them for me, filled up the reservoir with fresh fluid, and then we flushed all the old fluid out through the brake lines. I got some comments saying that the fluid discoloration seemed to be pretty normal, but my brother works on cars as a professional mechanic, and he said it looked pretty dark compared to what new fluid should look like. So that's a new thing I'll be implementing, flushing the brakes and the reservoir every 30,000 miles just for safety reasons. But that was one item I did. And then the other that I did was an oil change and tire rotation, and then a grease of the front end, which includes the axle joints for the 4x4 and all of the steering components now that I'm running aftermarket steering. And lastly, to talk about modifications, I've basically been on the road until this point, so I haven't had time, nor have I needed to do any modifications. I did see A-Rod for a few things, forescan related, as I was driving out, and so but I wouldn't really say it was like big stuff per se. What I would like to say is thank you to you, the viewer, and a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year to you. I started this channel on January 2nd of this year, and so it's been about a full year of doing this. I've enjoyed every minute. I've enjoyed chatting with you, the viewer, in the comments, learning about my truck, because there's still quite a few things that I don't know. I feel like I've learned a lot this year just by having the channel, and I hope that by making these videos, I'm sharing information as an owner that drives almost 40,000 miles a year with other owners who are thinking of buying a truck like this, or maybe already own a truck like this and want to better understand how much it costs to upkeep a modern diesel truck. Thank you again for your time and for subscribing to the channel. I appreciate you, and we will see you next year. As corny as that joke is, it's true. So we appreciate you here on PowerStroke Maintenance, and we'll see you next time. Cheers.